So it's well, number one, it's funny because I'm laughing because so CHH fans they get triggered when they hear that CHH is dead, and I'm laughing, but
Real
I'm
quick.
a big Christian hip hop fan,
Yes,
and
sir.
the thing is like I've only been on Twitter for about maybe 2 or 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
and since I've been on Twitter, about every 4 months or so, this
Yep.
conversation happens.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think this time it probably lasted a little bit longer. Probably went about 8 months this time. But it
Yeah.
happens very regularly where people
Mm-hmm.
start saying Christian hip hop is dead, and Christian hip hop fans and artists get triggered.
Yep.
And there's a lot of different, it's a whole lot of different people's standpoints on it. But and I tweeted about it because there's two people that I really respect. One of them, somebody who's been on the show before, Mitch Durrell.
Yeah.
He had a post about it saying Christian hip hop is alive and well, and I like that, and I retweeted it. But then Brandon Boone, who is I'm gonna forget now. I think he's with RMG, right?
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
He tweeted Christian hip hop is dead,
Mm-hmm.
and I liked and retweeted that. So
Yeah.
I think from a standpoint of if you didn't hear the heart of what Brandon Boone was talking about, he was talking about the infrastructure and things like that.
Right.
Saying Christian hip hop is dead. But as far as the artists, as far as how people sound sonically, the freedom that there is in Christian hip hop to go the super spiritual route or to go the fun, clean route.
Yeah.
From that standpoint, it's never been better, and it's not close.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean,
Agreed.
I would say maybe 2008 to 2012 was a really good time, but like right now, it's a really good time in Christian hip hop. So I don't like the term dead necessarily.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I get the point that he's making, and I don't know if you guys have seen it, but Tadashi on his podcast, The Dash, he had Aha Gazelle on, and they had they had this conversation about a week or so ago as well, and I thought that was pretty interesting as well. So I just think that people say it to make a splash and to make a point,
Absolutely.
which is cool.
Yeah.
But some people take it and I don't like how some people take the whole CHH is dead, and some people take that and they want to bash on the other artists who may not be overtly Christian enough. And I don't like that. I don't like that when you don't do CHH the way that they want you to do it, they start to I don't know. I just don't. Everybody doesn't have to do it the same way. There's more lanes in Christian hip hop than just hey, I'm gonna spit theology over this track. If it ain't Beautiful Eulogy, if it ain't early CMR, then it's trash.
Right.
I just think that it's like the you guys intro song.
Yeah.
It's throw that on, I go to the gym.
Right.
It doesn't have to be
Right.
salvific. It doesn't have to have any redemptive qualities in it. It's just good, clean. I'm gonna go to the gym and throw around these weights, or try to. Everybody can't be Rob, but we try to throw around these weights a little bit.
Everybody ain't picking up 65s like this brother. Right.
No, give me the 35s. I go for reps.
Hey, Rob, before you go, I want to
go
comment on this, man, because I haven't spoken publicly about this. Number one, I fully agree with everything you're saying, and I come from the time that you did the exact same way almost. My intro to CHH was Gospel Gangsters, the first thing I heard, and then I heard all the Grape Tree, and then I eventually heard, and I was liking it, but I kind of felt something like, man, this is kind of like Christian No Limit. And then Cross Mover came in, I was like, oh my God, this is revolutionary. And it was very weird for me being a Southern person to love East Coast music so much at that time, because in general, I wouldn't call myself an East Coast favor. I don't hate it, but, I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee. That wasn't being played. You feel what I'm saying? But these guys' passion for the word was so outstanding to me. It just blew my mind, and it made me love it. To this question here, and I want you to comment on this too, Rob. I know this is a little different, but I think this is a good topic. To this question here, or to the thing about CHH is dead, the child in me that grew up loving CHH is offended every time I hear that, because that's my baby. Just like people that love LeBron now and say he's the GOAT, and people that love MJ and they say LeBron the GOAT, they get mad. Oh, he can't be the GOAT. But LeBron is very, very good. Just like MJ was very, very good, but it's a different time and season. But I also think people should bring, because I watched Mitch's video on this, and I really love this video. And I think people, when they say CHH is dead, give explainers on what you're talking about, because a lot of people are talking about the infrastructure and not the whole thing. So these people are talking about, okay, I can't make a living doing CHH. Me personally, I was a rapper, and from day one, I never thought I was gonna make a living. I always worked a job. When I was traveling every weekend and doing tours, I always worked a job. So me personally, that was never offensive to me, because I came in with the point of, I'm rapping for Jesus. I'm trying to get people saved. You dig what I'm saying? And I recognize that everyone don't have that point. I get it, and I'm not offended by that. And I think there's millions of lanes for CHH, but I think we have to be careful when we make those statements, because like you say, I don't like the word dead. And if you're talking about infrastructure, say that. No hate to the guy that said that, but if you're talking about infrastructure, say that. Don't not say it, because it's kind of backhanded, in my opinion.
Yep. And that's the thing. Like he tweeted it at the same time. He said the CHH is dead, and then he ended that tweet. Then the next tweet was saying, I'm talking about infrastructure. But you know the thing, people only see the headline.
You only see the headline. Exactly.
And the first tweet of the thread, that's what's going to get retweeted.
Right.
And people, that's going to take and go, and people are going to run with that.
Absolutely.
Not knowing that right after that, he explained himself. But at that point, you throw that out there, then you have those other people, the book, chapter, verse, Jesus bar people who want to take that and say, see, I don't like anything that people, they talking about social justice, they talking about this, they talking about politics, this and that. Or you have the people who are just, it's maybe a little, I'll say it, some artists who are just jealous of the bigger artists.
Talk to them. Say it again. Say it again.
I didn't want to say it. I didn't plan on saying it, but I went ahead and said it. I think that some people are just jealous of the bigger artists, and they feel like, I mean, obviously there's going to be politics and gatekeeping within everywhere. It's
Every
gonna
genre.
be in Christian hip hop, just the same way it's going to be in CCM and gospel, the same way it's going to be in church denominations.
Yes,
like it's just kind of the way it is. But some people, when they're not getting accepted, their music isn't getting accepted as some of the bigger artists, they must feel like, well, they're doing something wrong and I'm doing something right, and I am like, I'm him.
Right.
And people, if you're not loving my music, then you're just a hater.
Yes.
It's just like, sometimes you just don't make music for everybody.
Yes. And sometimes you ain't good. We don't like to say that, but some people just ain't good.
Because I'm be positive. I try to keep it positive. That's why I don't give these takes. But I consider y'all family, so I'm gonna give you y'all a little bit more. But some people, they just either they aren't good, or they're not providing a unique identifier about them. Like they're not bringing anything that's different to the table to make people want to stop and listen to their music. And those are just the facts. And I feel like when they say Christian hip hop is dead, sometimes those people come in and say it is dead, because if it was alive, then I would be on. And I'm just kind of like, that's not necessarily the case.
And I mean, the other part I feel like in that is, are you investing in yourself? Some of this is self-inflicted. You can't just put a track out and be like, it's hot, I'm submitting, and nobody. No, you gotta put stuff behind. You gotta put. Bottom line, it's a business. We don't want to talk about that either. I understand, because C and I are both ministry minded. Whenever we get on stage and do anything, we minister and try to lead people to the gospel. But like C, I never thought, I'm about to be on a world tour and I'm about to get paid off of this. That never was it. It's always been, I'd rather see, if one person gets saved, then I felt like that song, that album was a success. If one person comes up and say, hey, that made me think, I didn't want to kill myself. That made me think, I got back in the word because of something that you said. But the CHH Dead thing, I think a lot of it be for shock value. You know what I mean? Just to get people to come in, I'm going to say this, and then I can bait them in, and then they can hear this. And it's ways of going about doing it. And I feel like something that both of you guys said once before, is different lanes. I don't like everything that C likes. C don't like everything that I like. You dig what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's too many lanes in its ears for everything, and the whole church culture, denomination, that plays a key role, man. It really does, because even though like Reform, they don't call it that anymore. You know what I'm saying? And this goes into my question for you. I know we're on this, so I'm gonna save it for my question. But most Reform folks have went a different route, and they deconstruct them right now, if you will.
Not saying nothing's wrong with reform, folks. Put that out there.
Not saying
Nothing wrong
anything
with
is
that
wrong.
at all.
And then, you know, the tongue talkers.
That's your lane. That's your lane.
That's
praise
your lane.
God.
And then for the charismatic folks, it's like, let's bash them. You know what I mean? Because they turned their back on the Lord, and it's the division part. And like you said, a lot of jealousy going on.